And now for something completely different. We haven't talked about dice here in a while. Interestingly, dice are absolutely fundamental to the games we play, but they're also the most subjective part of the game, I think, at least as far as what kind of dice people want to use and have used in their games. And then remote gaming threw a whole nother variable into the mix. So today we're going to talk about these. GoDice from Particular Tech, and many thanks to them for sending them our way to review. So these dice attempt to merge the digital with the physical by giving you Bluetooth-enabled dice that will report back to your computer or your mobile device what you rolled. Now, they have a whole slew of games on their platform where you can use these with like faux Yahtzee and the like, so you can always get these and play those parlor games if you like, but that's not what we do here. We play D&D and Pathfinder and Call of Cthulhu and the Gloomhaven RPG, and more on that soon, among other TTRPGs. Now, you may rightly look at this set of dice and say, hey, Theo, those are all D6s. We play big boy and big girl games that use real dice. D20s, D10s, D4s, dare I even say D12s? Well, GoDice has a very interesting solution for that. So let's find out. Let's take a look at the GoDice RPG bundle. Before we kick off, we have another free spell for you to use with the animated Spellcraft deck from Hit Point Press. In case you're new here, Hit Point Press makes these animated spell cards for all the basic D&D spells from cantrips all the way up to 9th level. Unique animations on the front and spell details on the back. But they also have these Spellcraft cards with animations on the front and a blank sheet on the back for you to write in your own spell details. Well, we are taking inspiration from these animations and making our own spells that you can print out and use for free at home and pair them with the cards that you purchase from Hit Point Press. Today we have this, Lightning in a Bottle. You can grab any sealed vial or bottle and conjure a storm inside that'll be unleashed the moment the container is opened or broken. Serve up a nasty trap in your local tavern or hurl yourself a stormy Molotov cocktail. Download your free spells today at gallantgoblin.com/spellcraft, print them out, and combine them with the animated Spellcraft Volume 1 deck from Hit Point Press, link in the corner, to add more magic to your 5e games. So what we have here is the GoDice RPG bundle. It comes with 6 Bluetooth D6s, each with a different color of pips, a charging/storage case, 6 RPG dice shells, which we'll talk about in a sec, this little travel pouch, and this tablet stand. Once you individually connect the dice to your device of choice, in this case my phone, you run through a little game just to make sure everything is hooked up correctly. I can report that I had no trouble connecting them to my iPhone or to my M1 MacBook Pro, and when they reported the result, it was always correct. They worked as advertised. Now, one of my favorite little things about the dice was how you charge them. The charging case has a little space on the bottom, and you just push the 5 side of the die into it for 10 or 20 seconds, and it charges them up completely. And your connected device shows you the charge on each die. And I don't know why, but it is immensely satisfying watching the little meter go up as you press down on the die and see the little light and everything. At a full charge, the dice should last around 2 hours. So in a typical game, you may need to recharge them at least once, but when the process is kind of like a fidget spinner style delight, I don't think it's a big deal. The only real annoyance with it is that you do need a small screwdriver to replace the 2 AAA batteries inside the charging unit, and the batteries are not included. So let's talk about RPGs. To get the GoDice to work as something other than a D6, you'll pop them into these shells. The pack comes with shells for a D20, D12, D percentile, D10, D8, and a D4. Now those don't look like those dice. That's because the black dice are D20s and the white dice are D24s. The faces of the dice have numbered little stickers on them. So your D24s are numbered to be D4s, D8s, and D12s, your multiples of 4. And of course your black dice are D10s, D percentile, and D20, your multiples of 10. Now, here's my first real gripe with the dice. It is not easy at a glance to grab the right die when you need it. You have to look over all the sides to see what numbers there are. The highest value on each dice will be in a bolder font, but it is kind of subtle. If they're going to share a shape, I wish I had made each one a different color. It would have taken a little bit of time to associate a particular die with a particular color, but you'd get there after playing with them for a little while. The nice bit is that a D24 rolls a lot better than a D4, so you may want to keep a dice tray handy so your die doesn't go careening across the table. It is not hard to slot the die into the shells. You can open up the shells with your fingernail, slot a die in with the 5 side down, 2 side up, and the 1 side facing you. It doesn't matter which d6 you place in each shell. Then you put the shell back together with the little black dots matching at the top. One other nice little detail about the dice is that they light up and blink when you roll a natural 1 or a natural 20, as long as they're connected to some sort of device at the time. They don't seem to light up when you just roll them on their own. Now, the killer feature of the dice, for our purposes anyway, is that you can sync them with a VTT by using a Google Chrome extension. I believe Chrome is the only supported browser, so keep that in mind. Supported VTT platforms include Roll20, Foundry, and Discord. So let's start with Roll20. I'm going to show you their how-to video here because it worked exactly like this for me. You connect each die one at a time. Each D6 has a color for its pips, and that color is referenced in the device name when you're pairing them. So for example, the red die at the top here has that R. When you pair a die, it lights up. Then you tell it which shell, if any, you're going to use for that die. Now, it is a little bit easier to pair each die before you slot it into the shell because then you can see which color the die is. If they're already in the shell, it can be a little bit more of a puzzle to figure out which is which. The color of the die is obscured once it's inside its shell, but you can still see the lighting effect, so it's probably fine. When you roll the die, the result appears in the chat just like you rolled it on the platform. If you roll 2 dice, it adds up the results for you. Then you can hover over the result to double check what each die reported. If you double roll d20s, if you have 2 d20s, which you won't with just this set, you will get separate results for your advantage and disadvantage purposes. And you can enter a modifier before you roll to have it automatically calculated for you, though it's honestly probably a little quicker just to do those adjustments in your head. If you need to roll, say, 2 d8s, you can roll the single d8 twice quickly, and it should add them together for you, thinking it's all one roll together. Any rolls you make within 2 seconds get added to the previous one, unless it's a d20, in which case it'll report it as advantage and disadvantage. I had a little trouble getting this to work sometimes. You have to get used to the timing to get that combined result, though obviously it is not the end of the world. If you have to get separate results, you can still just do the sum in your head. Now, on Roll20, you can't directly tie the dice into a character sheet to activate with your abilities. You need to enter the modifier manually each time you roll. Now, this, I believe, is a limitation of the Roll20 system, which is less mod-friendly than Foundry. Now, Discord works in a very similar way. You'll need to use Chrome in combination with Discord. You go about the process of creating a webhook or having a webhook created for you, connect that to Chrome along with your character name, and then connect your dice just like you do with Roll20. Once that's done, you'll have the same functionality. Dice rolls will show up in the chat. You can roll multiple dice and have them combined together. You can hop out to Chrome and set a modifier to have it do the maths for you. You can connect an extra d20, again not included in the set, to have it report those advantage and disadvantage rolls. It is all pretty simple and easy to use, but limited. Now, Foundry, being the more moddable system, gives you more options. Now, the setup process for Foundry is, of course, more complicated, because that's just the kind of system Foundry is. It gives you more flexibility than Roll20 at the expense of simplicity. It is the Pathfinder to Roll20's D&D. You can see some of the setup process here in this tutorial video, and we will link all these videos for you in the doohickey down below. You will still need that Google Chrome extension to make it work, but once you get through the initial setup process, Foundry does open up a few more options for you. For example, you can tell the system which dice you're about to roll, and then roll those dice at your leisure, and it will report out your results with a replication of your dice roll on the screen if you like. This is certainly an easier way of combining multiple rolls into one result than you get on Roll20 or on Discord. But the best thing is that you can also trigger these rolls from your character sheet to let you roll specific attacks or other kinds of abilities. You can roll the attack and then calculate the damage as you see in the video. Here we're getting much closer to the ideal use scenario. We want to be able to trigger an attack, use our dice to roll it out, just like we would in real life, and then have it reported on screen. And that's pretty close to what you get in Foundry here. Okay, big picture. The dice work as advertised. They are well designed. There is a lot of thoughtful little details here. You can tell that a lot of thought and love and ingenuity went into their creation. They're not perfect. Like a lot of Bluetooth devices, maintaining a connection to the system can be unreliable and finicky. It's usually not hard to reconnect them when that connection gets lost, but it can get a little irritating. A few times I needed to refresh my Roll20 page and then reconnect the dice. And if you roll the dice quickly, sometimes it won't register every single roll. And I did have it think that that I was rolling sometimes when I just picked the die up. But as long as you aren't here rolling the D20 100 times trying to get a natural 20 or a natural 1 to show off that blinking light feature like I was doing here for a YouTube video, I think you're going to be more or less completely fine. Does it solve any problems? No, not really. If you're playing and you want to use physical dice, but your GM has outlawed them because of possible cheating, then this probably won't solve that problem because you could just like roll them in your hand and place down the preferred side up. Though honestly, that would be a little bit tough to do consistently, but seriously, if you're worried about dice cheating in your games, then what are you even doing? I'm of the opinion as a game master that if you're worried about players cheating, then you need better friends. And if a player gets their joy from fudging a roll for some reason, then I'm just gonna roll with it, so to speak. Enjoy your ill-gotten glory, though we are clearly not playing the game for the same reasons. If you're in my online games, use a VTT dice, use real dice, use Alexa, use your phone, just make up a number. I don't really care as long as you give me your result in a timely manner. Are the dice gimmicky? Yeah. Are they kind of cool and a conversation starter? Yeah. And with that Foundry integration, we're certainly getting closer to that seamless connection into a character sheet that might make these a legit replacement for regular dice and digital dice in those online games. We're getting close. These dice are very close to succeeding at what they're trying to be, and they're getting closer each month with their software updates. I think the character sheet integration on Foundry was just done in the last couple of months, so advances are continuing to be made. Plus, you can play all those little parlor games that come with the app if you like. I think kids especially would enjoy those. And since all the dice come as D6s, another fun option is that you can just use them all as D6s if you want. Roll up that fireball damage with style. You don't need to buy the shells if you just want to roll a bunch of damaged D6s. Other things to be aware of. The set comes with 6 dice, and your usual RPG dice set comes with 7 dice, sometimes 8 if they have 2 D20s. If you want to have a connected D6, you're going to have to forego one of the shells. Since the D12 is probably the one that gets used the least in our games, you can probably just not use that shell. Switching out the dice mid-game from their shells is probably a little bit of a hassle. You can also just buy one more GoDice D6 if you want a full set. You can also buy a single D20 if you want to use those for your attack rolls and skill checks. I do wish that they were cooler looking. The plain black and white stickers on clear plastic just seem so utilitarian. They do have their dedicated D20 die that looks a lot better. You can see it here. So yeah, let's talk about price, because as you might imagine, these aren't particularly cheap. You can get a single D20 shell with the better looking D20 with that D6 inside, plus the charging case for about 35 to 40 bucks. A 2-pack of D6s and a charger is about 40 to 50 bucks. The 6-pack of D6s with the case is about 100 to 120 bucks. That's like this thing here. The RPG bundle, which is what I have here all together, with the 66s, the 6 shells, the bag, and the charging case, and that little tablet stand is $120 to $150. If you already have the D6s, you can get just the 6 shells and the bag for about 30 bucks. And as you can see, there is a sale going on right now. They are offering free shipping along with that during the sale, as long as your order is over $49, and it's in the US and EU only. I am not sure how long the sale is going to last, so if you are interested, now is probably the time to pounce. We'll have all those sale links down below. Oh, and they also make Rubik's Cubes, smart ones that connect to your devices. If that's your bag, go check those out. Also remember to check out our shiny new free lightning in a bottle spell from gallantgoblin.com/spellcraft and get yourself the paired animated spellcraft deck from Hit Point Press at animatedspells.com, or please use our links down below to make sure they know we sent you. You can also adopt a Kobold plushie over here. This is Rory from heroplus.com, and I think that wraps up our coverage for June. It is about 150 degrees outside here in Texas, so I'm going to take a little break. But for those of you who are kind enough to stick around to the very end here, we are going to have some exciting Gloomhaven RPG coverage for you in the next couple of weeks, so be sure you stay tuned for that. We'll also be covering more Onslaught expansions, including the Red Wizards 1 pack, the mini arrows, and the cell swords, so be sure you're subscribed so you don't miss anything. You can also follow along with us on social media at one of these sites, and until next time, stay safe, stay cool, have fun, love each other, and I will see you next time at the Gallant Goblin.